Everyone, here is Francisco Soldierbeat from Connectors for Audion Media. One more interview because now I make interview with all the people all around the world, from Brazil, I don't know, Latin America, and now with a big DJ and producer. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for the lovely introduction. It's such a pleasure to join you today.
The big Gina Jeanz. Everything good?
Oh yeah, I'm off season now. I'm feeling relaxed. I'm feeling rested. So I've been good. How are you?
Yeah, I am good. I am living in Rio de Janeiro, in Brazil. The weather is, everything, one day is raining, another day, totally sunny. It's very bipolar.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's that time of the year where the seasons are changing as well. For me, it's the cold.
Yeah.
This is my second European winter, and I'm still not used to it. I'm still like, it's getting cold. But I can't complain. The seasons are inevitable. They always come.
But you live now in Switzerland, right? But
Yes.
you are from Zambia, eh?
Namibia?
Yeah, I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
But Namibia. Yeah.
Namibia, yeah, exactly.
But you born there, but how long you stay in Namibia? In your childhood?
My whole childhood. I was born there, raised there, and then when I moved to South Africa, I moved to study, and that was 2010, yes. Mm-hmm. And so I lived in Cape Town in South Africa for up to almost 12 years, I believe. And then I moved last year to Switzerland. So I've been in Switzerland for 1 year now.
Nice. Well, I saw it, for example, Luciano lived there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of DJs.
It's to be honest with you, my husband was the reason why we moved here in terms of where we wanted to start, because I didn't really know which country would be the best fit. So I just let him take the lead on deciding where we would start out. And it's been really great. It's a nice balance for me, because when I travel and play in the bigger cities and I come back to Zurich, it's like a bit calm. So it's like it's not too crazy of a lifestyle and too crazy of a lifestyle at home as well. It's quite equally balanced for me. So, I mean, I've always traveled when I was younger as well, when I was studying. So I've been open to the world, if that makes sense. It's not really about where exactly, but of course that makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. Yeah. But I wasn't hesitant on trying or being in a new place, because moving from my country to South Africa also taught me a little bit of some independence of living outside of your home,
Yeah, and when you start in the electronic music, I don't know, because I don't know, many DJs, for example, start in a band, in a rock band, or in a jazz band, or whatever. Then, change to the electronic music.
Of course.
Can you talk about your beginnings? Yeah.
So I grew up in a musical household, and I played the violin when I was younger. That was, I would say, my first introduction to composing music. Because we had to play with sheet music and read the notes, and I was always so curious. I was like, who just decided this is music and we can read it and understand it? It's a very beautiful language, music, when you can read notes as well. And so I had some friends that were traveling outside of Namibia that were bringing me music. So I got really so many different CDs and songs, and most of them were burnt on CDs because I didn't have I didn't have internet back then. It reached us a little bit later. So whatever I was getting was what I was consuming. And in a way, I would say my education in music, or education in electronic music, was sort of this: the world is open and there's so much music around. And of course, there's music that you hear on the radio. And at the time, in my country, it was pretty much the same songs. So
Yeah.
I really was drawn to other sounding music or music that just wasn't mainstream, for example. And I think at the time, 2009, already electronic music was sort of already not even doing its thing. But for me as a Namibian who hadn't been exposed to electronic music at the time, started to become a bit more popular. We don't have a big electronic music scene in my country. So already that was a very curious thing for me. And I would always ask, why, you know?
Yeah, I love that style. Yeah.
Yeah, it is really not influenced particularly by media, but by curiosity.
But I don't know, but when I listen to your music, for me, sorry, but when I listen to your music, I think it's very similar with black coffee music. What do you think about that? Maybe it's an influence of you or not too much. I don't know, because when I listen to that, it's like, oh my God. I remember a concert with Black Coffee, you know? Maybe the influence, because he's from South Africa. Well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, my environment definitely influenced my sound. I mean, I look at my environment in Namibia and I look at my environment in South Africa, and I was listening to deep house and house music and kwaito music. So even at the time when Black Coffee was also, you know, coming up and becoming this amazing producer, of course, a lot of DJs respected him for kind of opening this pathway for DJs from South Africa to travel and play in amazing clubs. So yes, I am influenced by people who are pushing boundaries. I think that's definitely one thing. And as a producer, of course, there are trends in music. You hear a sound, you hear a kick or a melody, and you feel inspired by it. I think for me, what I've always done, and I always say this, I experiment so much with my music. If you go back to the album, it doesn't sound like what I've put out this year. You know, there's some R&B in there, there's some house in there, there's a bit of ballet funk in there. It's really about what I'm enjoying, and I take what I need from it and then I make it my own in a way. You know, I don't think I'm reinventing the wheel, of course, but there've been some people that have really pushed boundaries and created subgenres of music. So yeah, the music can be influenced by many things, I believe.
Yeah, and you put, when I listen to your music, a lot of vocals of for girls, for example, Jackie Queens, when you make Curious, right? Yeah,
exactly. And that's like a house boppy track, you know? So it's important for me. I'm a woman, and I get this question a lot: what is it like to be a woman in the music industry? And I said, you know what, I'm at a point right now where I'm not competing with the men. This is not a competition. We are not athletes. We are
power, power.
You know, it's just the men do their thing, that's fine. Me, it's really, it is about what I'm bringing to the table and contributing, you know, as a creative, as an African, as a musician, as a Namibian. Everyone has to have that voice. And so when we do this thing of men versus girls, it's just like, okay, what is the point of this, you know? So I know that women don't have as many opportunities in the industry. Of course, things are progressing and it can get even better. So I know my responsibility as a woman and working with fellow vocalists that I admire and respect. And yeah, it really depends, because maybe the song needs a little rough energy. So I'm not really saying, oh, I don't work with you because you're not a man or you're not a woman. But I think there's a social responsibility that I know is on me, even as a Black woman. But I don't always want that to be the only story I'm telling, you know?
Yeah, it's very interesting because, I don't know, for me, it's like, I don't know, the space is very, now you have a lot of space for every people, you know. If you make music, that's it, you know. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, but I want to ask you the same question about a girl from Brazil. She called Gio. She told me, Francisco, it's like more people in electronic music, is more men interesting than girls. That is the reason. Maybe you have another, concept for that. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, let me speak for myself and my experiences, because I think we're all different, and even the different shows and environments we find ourselves can shape that. I think when you focus on what you bring into the table, whether you're creating energy in the room, whether you want to play a banging set with sing-along songs, there's room for everybody to express themselves. So it is, for me, DJing is a form of expression, right? Because the DJ is creating the soundscape for the night. Sometimes they'll make you cry. There are people in the crowd that will be like, that was a very emotional experience for me. Thank you very much. Some people just want to have a good time and release energy. So I think everyone has a unique way of expressing themselves, and so we should allow that. I think people are like, oh, she's not a DJ because she was playing this song that the other guy played. Okay, so there's someone with a pen striking us for being bad DJs, but ultimately it is a form of expression. And yes, a good DJ knows how to read a crowd. And so really, I think if I had to give advice to somebody, how do you express yourself? And then take it from there.
Yeah, well, I love your music and your career for sure. Because when I listen to Wanna Dance, it's like, oh yeah, nice, because it's I don't know, it's very pure house. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, in general you put a lot of Afro House, but that track is like, oh yeah, full house music.
And again, during lockdown, it was a nice time for me in terms of creating. Of course, the world was in a state, and I'm very careful when I say this, but as a creative who's always like, put out music, it was such a great time to connect with other people I haven't been able to reach, because now we're all at home, now we're all doing DJ mixes, and I'm meeting peers online and doing music for other artists. It was a great time to really shift gear into what other music is out there. What is something I haven't tried before? So Wanna Dance, the way I title my tracks, it really depends. I'll be like, sometimes you're just on the dance floor, you want someone to come ask you, hey, you want to dance? And then I was like, what would that feeling be like in a song? And so, it was...
I saw it in your boiler room in London. Do you remember? Yeah,
I did. My boiler room was actually in Joburg. It was actually in Johannesburg. And it's a partnership with... it was online.
London Festival, but in Johannesburg. Yeah,
exactly. So we had some online shows, and it's just... Sometimes it's just about a groove, a vibe, and too much pressure. So it's important to tell... For me, it's important to tell stories in my music. I think it's always been my outlet since I was younger. It's, again, a form of self-expression. So some songs will be, I guess, not so heavily influenced by a trend, and others will be like, what's hot right now? How can I make this work for myself? And stay current, but not compromise my entire sound. So I've always told people I experiment. You're gonna hear like I'm not.
That is the way. That is the way.
I'm not gonna say I'm purely hip hop or I'm purely R&B. I'm purely
Afro.
All the music I've heard growing up is exactly what's made me who I am as a DJ and producer.
Yeah, very interesting. For other guys make music, because many people, for example, when Tiesto changed, for trance and now for EDM, it's like, what, bro?
Why? Oh, it's coming for you. Why?
For me, it's very stupid. It's very stupid, because, bro, it's music,
It's music. And do you know what? I understand. Someone will be listening to their favorite artist, and when they start doing something new, they feel like they've changed. But if we look at the progress of life in any form, change is the only constant. So
Yeah.
I think it shouldn't be too hard on artists when they want to try something new. You know, maybe they try something new, it doesn't work out. Okay. Maybe they do, and it's like the next phase and stage of their life. I feel like obviously when you are in the public eye or when you have a big platform, you're always going to be scrutinized for trying something new. So I say try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, redirection. It's not a failure.
Just you need to listen to Michael Jackson, for example. He made disco, R&B, soul, rock.
Everything. Big inspiration to me as well because, oh my gosh, the Namibians love Michael Jackson, okay? He even came to the country, so we knew he was a superstar.
It's very simple. But yeah, Gina, how your plans for the next year? You have a new release, a tour. If you want to talk about that, yeah.
Well, this was my first official tour, starting tour in Europe and playing in different places. And I mean, I played the opening party at Amnesia, and I played some pretty cool festivals in Albania as well. I was in Albania a lot this year, actually. And it was the beginning of building an audience in this side of the world as well. And so, in a way, I'm very grateful that sometimes I had to figure it out, you know, and I'm grateful for my team. I think they've had faith in me and trust me enough to put me on big stages. And maybe there was a little bit of anxiety to be like, oh my gosh, I'm coming from Southern Africa and this is a completely different ball game here, you know. But I know that an opportunity is here, and I did want to take advantage of that. So now that I have an idea of what it's like, I guess, with the traveling, what the schedules can look like, because it was intense. Okay, I saw more of the airport than I've ever in my life, and I don't like
the jet lag.
Oh my gosh, long. So now I have a better idea of how to be flexible with my time as well, because I did miss being in studio. I did miss making music. And so now that I'm on downtime, I've been able to kind of plan ahead for the next year. You know, in a way, I'm still curious to see how what I've done this year will impact career next year in terms of bookings and shows. You know, I mean, all artists are pushing as hard as they can to get on a dream show that they want to, whether it's Coachella or, you know, or winning a Grammy. So this is the building blocks of the career and foundation. And honestly, I can't say for sure, for definite, but I want to continue growing the audience. I think that's something that for me is important because, you know, the audience will also contribute to coming to see your shows, you know, and getting the music. I have some new music coming out as well.
Yeah, nice.
And it's music that was definitely influenced by this year that I had, because I was in so many different countries for the first time. So in Morocco.
Wow. A lot of inspiration, right?
Oh my gosh, the sounds from I would go around with my iPhone trying to record field sounds just so I can use it in my music way, you know, and I love that. I think that's the perks of the job, is you are really put out into the world, and then for me, I become a sponge. I'm looking, if it's the food, it's the people, it's the conversations, it's an awesome experience. So I'm not going to say too much about the songs, but I'm excited to put out new music for sure, and hopefully even during this time continue to work in studio so that I can have some of my own stuff to play, you know, next.
I see you, well, your Instagram for sure, but I see you very worried about your image, you know, you take a picture when you're up, you know, it's like, you know, when I saw your Instagram, it's like, wow, she's a DJ or a model, you know? No, really, because
oh my gosh, I will never live this down. I'll never live this down.
But you're very worried for that, because I think so in that era, in this era, it's very important, your image, because a lot of people saw it, What do you think about that, for the social media and the electronic music?
Yeah. Visibility is the currency right now, if we're looking at it, right? Being visible, posting on your social media, getting videos from people. It's challenging if maybe that's not your strongest form, but you're an amazing producer, an amazing DJ. I guess for me, I was a graphic designer before. That's what I studied in South Africa. I did visual communication.
Nice. You have a talent.
Yeah, I was a creative director as well with my husband. We had a company in South Africa. And so visuals have always been my way of controlling my narrative, telling my story from my eyes. And yes, maybe there's a hint of perfectionism in there because of my studies and understanding what it's like to kind of build a brand. And and if I take my own pictures, it's me telling the story and not somebody else. So I love to have fun with it. Social media is changing now. Of course, it's bigger than what anyone could have imagined. I mean, Instagram was a place to share pictures and just go. Now it's like 8 sponsorships, all these other things. So for me, I curate my Instagram according to where I'm at in my life. It's so different now compared to 2-3 years ago. And I did model it back in the day. And so, you should have fun with it. And I think however you want to tell your story, there's no right or wrong way. But I do think that in the current state of visibility being important, I guess, sharing your shows, sharing good pictures. For me, it's like a business card now. Where do people go when they want to see who's Gina Jeanz? They go on social media. It's not like I'm walking around with a business card anymore.
Wikipedia.
It's like, this is my portfolio. So I think exactly. I think there's a responsibility as an artist to make sure that is something that if you don't have a huge following, maybe you have a good Instagram profile, people are excited to see your things. You've got to make it work.
Yeah.
I don't see not having certain things as a complete disadvantage, but it's opportunity to see what I have and what I can do with it to create some sort of impact. And that's why for me, taking care of my social media is it's cool. And if I don't want to post, I don't have to post.
Wow. That's very important, for other people, because, for example, Ricardo Villalobos, don't care any social media, but one management need to make, Instagram.
They want
it's very fun. It's very fun.
We need a viral video, so you're just like, it's what's coming with the career right now, So yeah.
Well, your Instagram is Gina Jeanz. For all the people when viewing this video, is Gina Jeanz. Yeah, and you have everything there. You have a link and treat. You have your email promo. Yeah, it's very important for people. I don't know, for Latin America, because this program is all the people in Latin America listening. Maybe send a promo. But don't send psytrance. Don't send hard techno.
No, I love to give people the opportunity. I'm on social media, guys. Come check me out. Get to know the music, get to know me. Sometimes I'm funny on my stories. Sometimes I'm quiet. It's fun. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, Gina, thank you. Muito obrigado for this interview. See you in Magic Garden in Festival Luciana.
I can't wait. See you guys there. And thank you so much for the time and the interview. It was really lovely.
Thank you. Kisses. A big hug.
Bye.